Hi Anne, hi, hello Facebook, hello YouTube. How is everybody? I hope you're all super well this Wellbeing Wednesday. I was just saying to our friends here on Instagram that it is so fragrant where I'm sitting right now because look at these beauties. I mean, just the smell. I hope you get an impression of it. It is the start of, or the middle of, British Flower Week. And so we have got a floral theme. I'm going to be joined by one of my favourite people in British Flowers, Rosebie, who is the founder of the Real Flower Company, and I've been to her farm several times in Hampshire and we've done filming together. I've done little bits of filming for This Morning, for ITV, as well as for my own channel for Earle Wellbeing. So I'm really looking forward to catching up and talking lots of flowers. So if you have any floral questions, or anything that you would like to ask Rosebie, she is an amazing expert, not only on sweet peas, but on roses and herbs and just lovely, lovely things. She has actually given us, because it is this British Flower Week, she's given us a special affiliate code, the Liz Loves code. So it's 10% off everything at the Real Flower Company. And you know, they are my go-to. If I'm sending flowers to people, I just love them because they come in either beautiful hat boxes that you can reuse or lovely cream jugs. I mean, really tasteful. And they are scented. So not only are the flowers really beautifully done, you'll see on their website, but she includes real roses that smell. And we'll have a discussion about that with her in a moment, about why certain roses smell and why certain ones don't. Everything is sustainably grown, and she uses herbs and just lovely things. Honestly, they are really, really special. So as well as the roses and the flowers that I've got live here, just a quick reminder, I had some messages on my Instagram yesterday after my live on Monday about the jewellery that I was wearing. So there was a comment here about my little neroli. So the neroli is one of my first designs, actually. It was the classic one. This currently isn't on sale, but watch this space if you're interested. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not allowed to say any more from my team. But we do have, I've got the wild roses on at the moment. So I've got my little wild rose bracelet with its little wild rose adjustable dangle here, which is, they all have my hallmark, by the way. They're all 24 carat fair trade gold vermeil, and I have my own hallmark, the LE hallmark, in the London Assay office. And then these are the little rose, wild rose earrings, little ear studs that I wear such a lot, and they're in rose gold or they're in yellow gold, and you will see those if you've got your magazine. You'll see those. That's all 25% off the whole wild rose collection, just to let you know. Look at that, my cover is all roses as well, so my garden is actually looking like that with lots of lovely pink roses. So let's see if we've got Rosebie in the house. What a great name for somebody who runs a flower company. I mean, really, you can't make it up, can you? Let me see. Where are you, Rosebie? I think you might have to request to join me, so I will keep a little eye on my messages here, on my requests. But hopefully, yeah, lots of people talking from the south coast, which is really nice. I was down there not so long ago. You just saw, hopefully, may have seen on my Instagram, I was down at Studland, such a beautiful part of the world. Oh my goodness, that was so nice. Joby here is saying, I've just picked a few flowers and used sage flowers too. Smells fab. How brilliant. I think I've just put some flowers in little pots. I've got some people coming for lunch tomorrow, and I've just done little jars, like little mini jam jars. And I've used mint. Actually, I had quite a lot of mint growing because, you know, once mint gets going, it just sort of runs everywhere, doesn't it? And also some bay leaves, that lovely dark green sort of glossy foliage, which I think always looks so nice. You can use herbs, obviously, in flower arrangements. They tend to last quite a long time if they're the thicker ones, like bay. Sage arranges really well. Dill, because it's all lovely and feathery, and the fronds are so pretty. And what else have I used? Tarragon, because that tends to be quite tall. Yeah, that's it really. But they smell really good. Okay, let me try and see. Yeah, the Real Flower Company, she is here. So hopefully this is going to work, because I've been looking forward to having a floral chat and talking particularly about some of the varieties that we've got here. And just, I think it'd be really interesting to find out why certain flowers smell and why some don't, and what to look for and how best to arrange them and how best to keep them going. Rosebie, I think I have sent you a message. So let's see, hopefully you will be able to join me. Hi, Tanya. Hi. Oh, yeah, is it hot where you are? Do you know, it was hot. First thing this morning, it was really hot, and it was really hot last night. Hi, how are you?
Lovely to see you.
Very, very nice to see you. Are you down on the farm in Hampshire?
I am indeed, and it's really hot, which is lovely. Really good news.
Well, I have been into your big chillers where you keep your amazing roses just after you've picked them. And honestly, the smell walking into that room, is it the Margaret Merrill, which are those beautiful white roses that you specialise in?
Absolutely, and it's extraordinary, but it has been the most bizarre season, Liz, as you I'm sure know so well. You know, we went from nothing, you know, like really far behind, 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks behind across the season. Yeah, we were here. To suddenly everything has just gone mad.
I know.
It's crazy, really crazy.
Isn't it?
Well, looking at your sweet peas.
Well, these have come from you, and do you want to tell us about them? Because you grow lots of sweet peas, and I know lots of people will be very interested to know, how do you get your sweet peas so tall?
Yeah.
I mean, mine just don't look like that, Rosebie. Mine are all little spiddly things, or they go all twisty, curvy. But this is exactly what you want, isn't it, when you're arranging them?
It is, but it's not. That's not a garden-looking sweet pea, as we know, because you know your lovely twisty, whirly ones. They've got character. They've got huge character. I'm not
saying
those
have character.
Those are beautiful, but those require a huge amount of time and effort. And you know they're grown under glass. You haven't been there, have you? You need to come and see it.
Have I seen your sweet peas? I mean, I've seen where you grow the roses.
Yeah.
Is that separate then?
It's separate. The sweet peas are grown down at Chichester.
Okay, no, I haven't been there yet.
There's much better light intensity down there.
Is there?
And it doesn't get so cold. So we grow them under glass down there, and they're grown like tomatoes. So they're grown up long strings.
Right.
So every year somebody has to spend days stringing, and then we plant these little. Well, we save all our own seed, so we get really, and we save seed which has got we save stock which is better for length and colour and scent. So we're constantly, improving.
I mean, some of these colours and smells, they are just absolutely amazing. So are these all varieties that you've bred yourself and created?
Yeah, they are. So they're all at the moment. I think you will laugh at this because we have talked about naming them for quite some time. Yeah. Because I've got a feeling that this one, I've got one in front of me actually, which is this is mine in front of you. See that?
Oh, beautiful. Now our friends on Facebook and YouTube can't see. If you want to hop over to Instagram to have a look, then do, or have a look at the Real Flower Company website.
There's one colour which I always associate with you, which is that.
The bright pink, the Wellbeing pink. Of course.
Very much a Liz Earle colour, that.
Yeah.
But so that's how they're grown, and we take the tendrils off. Mm-hmm. So that's how they go. They grow straight.
Oh, really? So would that help us at home? I mean, I've got my sweet peas are nowhere near ready yet. But if you take off the little curly tendrils, will that help them then to grow straighter?
Yeah, because the sweet pea is basically it's a climbing plant. Yeah. So it's producing tendrils so that it can hang on to fences or itself or whatever.
Okay.
So those tendrils immediately tangle with whatever's closest to them. So that's the actual sweet pea plant. They'll tangle around.
So so they wind themselves. That is really good to know. What makes flowers smell? Because what I love about the Real Flower Company is that your bunches are scented, and I'd love to talk to you about your roses. And I don't know of many companies and certainly nobody who grows the scented roses in the way that you do. I mean, they are just astonishing.
Thank you very much. Well, the reason why I set the company up in the first place was because I was so frustrated by you walk into a flower shop and the only thing that had any scent was a hyacinth or a freesia or a lily possibly. Yeah. And I can remember growing up, probably like you did too, with surrounded by scent. So
old-fashioned garden roses.
Yeah, exactly, garden roses, and being age 3 and being at the right height for these roses, it's something you don't forget it. So when I married Matthew, my farming husband, That's what we strove to do, was to set up a company which really specialised in scented flowers. And that's, my ambition was always to be able to send them out all over the country. Because, the first thing you do is put your nose in a...
Yeah, you do. Whenever you see a bunch of flowers, you just go like that automatically, and the disappointment if it doesn't smell. But, you sound like you're living the dream, marrying a farmer and then
do you want to see my
just having a flower farm. It's just, it sounds incredibly romantic. I can imagine you in a large straw bonnet and a floaty dress, and
floaty dress, of course.
It's not quite like that, is it, Rosebie?
Well, it's a bit like farming. I think, my husband always gets really frustrated because he thinks people think farming is kind of dog and stick. You wander around with your very obedient dog leaning on your stick and survey your fields. And the same with this game. There's always something. Nature always gets the upper hand. As I said earlier, it's, you had the climate from hell earlier in the year where nothing was ready and we're so far behind. And then everything, you get 32 degrees and everything goes mad at once. And your sweet peas that you're looking at will probably not be around next week because they hate the heat.
Oh my goodness, so if anybody wants to order sweet peas using your discount, you need to do it now. Hop online while they're still around. Honestly, they are incredible.
But sadly, that'll be it for this year. But
no, for the whole year.
Yeah.
Oh, how sad.
We'll have them here. We have got some here. They're not quite as long because they're not grown in quite the same way.
Right, so you have some on the farm. And people can come to your farm. Do you do a farm shop gate, or is it all mail order?
On a Friday we're open.
On a Friday.
Turn up on a Friday.
Great. So people are in Hampshire on a Friday. Yeah, and how's your shop doing in Chelsea? Have you been able to reopen that?
We've reopened, and it's steady. I think, everyone's been a little bit reticent, I would say, but they're now coming out, and people want to buy, which is lovely. Yeah, I think people aren't they? People are, they've been starved of getting out and about for a year.
Yeah, and being able to go and actually physically get things and communicate with people.
Actually, I was out there yesterday, and it was so lovely hearing people's reactions to walking past the shop and having the sweet peas and the
it does look beautiful. If you're in, it's Chelsea Green, isn't it? It's just off the King's Road. Really, really beautiful. Now, you and I have got so many connections. I would love to have a chat about Kenya and about the Kenya side of things, because your roses, particularly in the winter, are grown in Kenya, in Laikipia, where I have a family home. And many years ago, I actually visited the place near Mount Kenya where your roses are grown before I'd even connected with you. And I've got photographs of me.
That's so funny.
It must be, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago. I think it was before my youngest son was born. Of going to the flower farm, and we took photographs, and I had a great tour with one of the guys who was helping to manage it, who I knew quite well, a botanist, and talking all about the sustainability and about how the roses were just, it was so great to grow them there because on the equator you have all this natural sunlight. Yeah. So you're not having to, like in Europe, where you have to grow them artificially under heat and light, and that takes an enormous amount of fossil fuel. Yeah. And then they get shipped across Europe in refrigerated trucks on the road. Whereas your flowers, they're grown sustainably under natural sunshine. They're hand-picked by people who are really needing the income. They're not, machine harvested. And then they just are loaded into the bottom freight hold of planes that are in the air anyway. So,
well, some and some. That's more or less right. But actually, some of them are now coming in on cargo planes because obviously with COVID,
that must have increased.
Stopped overnight. Yeah. And there's no passenger planes going backwards and forwards at the moment. But they are carbon neutral, which is quite something for a company which produces on the equator and then ships them across.
It's just fabulous, and there's no issue. It's not like when you go down more into the kind of the Naivasha area, and there are real issues there around the lake and draining the lake or polluting the lake. Where you are, it is a much more.
It's so natural. Yeah, it is
sustainable and eco-friendly.
They've just done so much for the local area, which is really, I'm very proud of what they've achieved because they've got something like 500 employees All of you have probably got about 8 dependents at home.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, for every one, person that you're employing there, that you will be supporting 8 others at least back home with school fees.
And they've got them clean water, and thanks to the sort of Waitrose have done their fair trade and all that type of thing. Although they're not now still fair trade because they don't really supply supermarkets. But there's a lot of giving people proper cooking facilities and light.
Just basics, I mean, things we take for granted.
Maggie actually uses it. It's Tim and Maggie Hobbs who own it.
Is it? I met Maggie Hobbs years ago, and they're still there doing it, are they?
Oh, yeah, no, they're very much. They are literally the
I'm going to go back as soon as I'm allowed back. I tell you. I mean, my family all know this.
Well, they're such a dynamic couple. They're just great, but they're now trying to give all their employees eco bikes. So that rather than coming to work on a tuk-tuk or whatever else, they're actually bicycling on their own, with their own bikes. So it's really fantastic, and it just dovetails in so well with what we're doing here, because even in the summer, what grows well here doesn't grow well there. I mean, Margaret Merrill, who you mentioned earlier, who sadly I haven't got Margaret around me.
Margaret Merrill is a rose, by the way, in case you missed that. It sounds like a lovely maiden aunt, doesn't it, Margaret Merrill?
Yeah.
Who was Margaret Merrill? Must have been a real person.
She was like the Marjorie Poops of the world.
Really?
I think people used to write in to Margaret Merrill and ask her advice on all things. And I think that's where it originated from. And I think that was back because Margaret Merrill came out, she's a Harkness rose, so bred by Harkness, the breeders.
Yeah.
And I think that was 1977 she came out. But she's just so beautifully scented, and she was the reason why inspired me to set the company up.
Really?
But she doesn't like Kenya. She's very much quintessential English.
Okay, she's got to be grown in Hampshire, has she? She's a home counties girl.
She can be grown anywhere in the UK, but not in Kenya.
Right.
Whereas other roses, like we produce one which looks a bit like a peony, which we call peony pink, and that loves Kenya. So it just depends. It's varietal. So it dovetails in really well. I mean, at this time of the year, we're not bringing in that much from them because obviously we've got all our own. But it just does work really, really well. Yeah. And they do. And obviously David Austin, the breeder, who I'm sure most of you probably heard of, who produces beautiful scented roses. Yes. We are the sort of cut flower supplier in the UK. And obviously a lot of brides love David Austin roses.
Yes. I mean, they're just so old-fashioned and blousy. And what is it with modern roses that, they're very straight. You've got this very sort of symmetrical bud that just sort of opens out a little bit rather than all the beautiful sort of big floppy old-fashioned varieties. Tell us about the breeding and why don't normal roses from florists, why don't they have any scent?
Basically, they bred, back in about the 60s, they met a sort of crossroads where there was pressure for longevity, so they wanted a rose which lasted for days, probably virtually dusting by the time it died. And they realised that the scent was shortens the life, because a scented flower does not last as long as a non-scented flower.
Okay.
And when I set the company up, I was fully aware of that, but actually felt that people didn't necessarily want something which went on for 2 weeks. They'd rather have
something beautiful for a week.
Ethereal rose or flower that lives with you, so it opens from tight bud, fully opens, and then sheds its petals, and and it's gorgeous while you've got it, and then you've got the potpourri afterwards. So you
nice. Yes. In fact, I'm pretty sure that we have a recipe. Thinking about potpourri, I'll have to find it in here to make your own potpourri. But that's a really interesting point. I never thought about that. That when you buy flowers from a normal florist, they just sort of wither and shrivel and go brown. They don't, as you say, they don't really drop. They don't open naturally.
Live with you. They look immaculate, and we get complaints to this. Don't get me wrong, because we're doing our next day delivery all over the place. People who don't really understand what the real flower company's about might well send us an email going, flowers were great, but they only lasted 5 days, and. I was sort of right back going, lucky you, I hope you appreciate them while you've got them, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, you are the real flower company.
Yeah.
Not the artificially created.
People to have something which was just picked from the garden. So they'll have, I know this is sort of up after your own heart, lots of herbs. So you've got mint and the petras and lavenders and alchemillas.
Lavender is so pretty in there.
Mix of gardeny stuff.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
I'm quite excited by this little thing because...
So what is that? What are you showing us there?
I'm showing you the sort of, the size of the vase. So it's a little vase.
Oh, I love your vases. I want to talk about vases. I've got your long one here, which I also love.
That one?
Yeah.
That one?
That one, yeah. Well, I can't hold mine up because mine's got loads of water in it. I was actually going to pop some...
Well, if I held that up for the people who can see what's going on.
Yeah, and I think hopefully everybody on Facebook and YouTube can see it. It's this beautiful long tube. You may have seen it on my Instagram. And what I love about it is if I, snip off a flower head by mistake or just have some left or actually want something on a table, because, if you're sitting at a table, you don't necessarily want to have this between you and, the person that you're opposite. Whereas if you can have something low that is so pretty, and maybe in just your salt and pepper or, sauces or whatever on the table.
They're really popular. And actually, funny enough, with the weddings, with all these weddings that have been cancelled and then reinstated and so on, it's really popular down the bridal table or anywhere, just to have a few of those tubes.
No, I love these. And you sell these on your website, don't you?
We sell them on our website. We sell them either just straight as is like that, or with flowers. It obviously doesn't come ready
filled. Okay, so you can buy them to send to somebody with all the little flowers that they can pop in.
So it just comes as a little posy, and then you just cut them and put them into your tube.
I love that, because then, as you say, obviously flowers, whichever flowers you send will eventually die. But then you've got your really fabulous gift that you've given that somebody can easily fill. I mean, even if you just fill it with daisies, I mean, it doesn't matter. Or a few little leaves, a bit of foliage, or some herbs or something. I mean, it doesn't have to have anything hugely extravagant. So I think it's really good value. I've actually found here, those of you who've got the magazine, it's page 104 and 105. It's coming up roses.
Oh, right.
And that's how to make your own potpourri out of rose petals. So I should be definitely collecting my real flower company rose petals. And rather than, hoovering them up, I shall be scooping them into a bowl.
It's waste not, want not, isn't it? It goes on, and that's the beauty of it. So you'll remember the bouquet, and then you can turn it into the potpourri.
Yeah.
Another thing we're doing this year, actually, which I think you'll probably find quite interesting, we must send you some when they start, is actual edible flowers. So
are you? That's so exciting. When are you doing edible flowers? I'm actually going to pop some into here.
We'll launch the bouquet probably in the next month. It's a European company that have asked us to grow these specific roses for the edible world. So I think restaurateurs, etc., are going to be quite excited about it. So you can order a bouquet and send it to the chef of your dreams or whatever, and get them to create a meal out of what you had. So you've got the bouquet. You can enjoy that, and then turn it into whatever you want to.
That's great. So when are you going to launch that? Because I will definitely look out for that.
That will be in the next month. So
soon.
Fairly soon, yes.
And what sort of things are we going to be eating? What sort of flowers do you think are particularly good to eat?
Roses will be the sort of the
roses.
Prima donna. Roses. So this is edible roses that they're doing. So lots of different types, and some of them are quite sweet, so good for a pudding, and others are quite savoury.
Really?
Paler ones tend to be quite savoury, and then the sort of the richer colours tend to be quite sweet. So you can either use them in a Moroccan dish or a ice cream or whatever, and then scented geranium, obviously, which is lovely in ice cream.
Love a rose scented geranium. Yep.
And then mints and all sorts. So it'll be basically every single part of the bouquet within reason is going to be edible. So
I don't know whether you can see that, Rosebie, whether it's actually in your vision, but I just literally spent two ticks just creating something really lovely.
It's so
Isn't that gorgeous? Great. And the smell is amazing. That is going to go onto my dining table. Would I like a job? Yes. Can I get a Saturday job with you? I'd love that.
Yes, could you? I'm looking for a Saturday girl at the moment, actually.
Are you? Excellent. You're going to be inundated.
Can I just tell you about this for a minute, because I'm so excited about it.
So what is that?
To work now, and we've had such a lovely year of working from home.
Yeah.
And,
lovely for some, not for others.
enjoying the garden and all that sort of things. And I think people have got to go back to work in wherever they are, in some city or another. We thought we'd do from farm to vase. So you get a little vase.
Do you get the little vase with the posy? Oh,
with a
sweet.
posy, and you can put that on your desk.
Love
and
it.
And then you don't go into a decline. And I think the way, mental health has been over the past year and all that side of things, I think just have a bit of garden on your desk is such a grounding, good mentally stimulation. I think it's just exactly what everyone needs. So we're going to start doing little subscriptions. So you can order, a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly.
What a great idea. So you don't even have to think about it then. It just arrives wherever you are, if you're living in a really urban environment.
Yeah.
Or with somebody who has to work in...
Somebody's living in the country and they don't want to pick their own flowers, but it's just it's not big, as you can see.
Yeah, it's about that size. It's a little posy vase.
Yeah. Really sweet. And I just think, people could just have it for, perhaps they just want it for, I don't know, a few weeks. But actually, I'm hoping that HR departments will love it because it just gives people an uplift.
What a great idea. Get that into companies and say, right, as a company benefit, we need to be having our little posies on the desks.
Exactly.
It makes you smile when you walk into a room and there are fresh flowers.
It does. It really does.
Just lifts everything. And talking about mental health, I remember when I was with you, when we did some filming, it must be at least a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
But you were talking about the mental health and the well-being benefits of working outside, and I think you were hoping to work with some mental health charities or do more with that. Have you? Obviously, it's been tricky these last 18 months.
It's been tricky. In fact, funnily enough, the person who is taking up the mantle at the moment is my daughter Millie, who is. She's studying. I hope she's not watching this because she's meant to be revising. She's studying.
She's allowed to watch her mum.
She's doing her RHS diploma at the moment.
Oh, how brilliant!
Yeah, we spent on Monday. She's got an exam, but she wants to start. She wants to go into horticultural therapy because she's heard me banging on about it, and at the moment I'm too busy with sort of the immediate Real Flower Company to do it. But I've got great plans and a vision for helping people who, it could be mental health, it could be people who've come out of prison who actually want to get into a career, because I think that's just such a great way of actually getting people grounded and back where they need to be. And there's such a shortage of really good gardeners. You get a huge number of people who are garden designers, and that's fantastic. But to actually get people who really know their stuff is quite challenging. Gosh. And I see it here. I mean, people are terrified when I ask for if anyone would like to come and garden with me, because they just think, oh God, she's going to be frightful. But I don't mind as long as people have an understanding of what,
it's a great training to have. And in fact, the charity that I founded called Live Twice, which is all about empowering people to have a second chance and to do, to develop in lots of different ways. We actually ran a scheme. It was at Lambeth Palace, which is the big garden for the Archbishop of Canterbury, which he has this huge garden behind these walls opposite St Thomas's Hospital in London. And they gave homes and shelters to a lot of the Syrian refugees who are coming in a few years ago. And most of them came and they didn't speak any English, and they were really kind of traumatized by the experience that they'd been through. And so they trained them in the gardens. So that gave them a chance to just work at their own speed, working therapeutically with plants outside, gaining a skill so they could then actually go on and get, gainful employment somewhere else while learning English and...
Sure.
It was an amazing project, and in fact I must pick up on it because we.
Yeah, I wonder how that's getting on.
It came to an end, and then there was COVID, and it was kind of on my list to say, right, to talk to my team at the charity and say, right, how can we now progress this to the next?
Sure, because I think horticultural therapy is there's obviously Thrive that do a huge amount in that world, but
Love Thrive.
Finding it's quite difficult to get into, how you start getting the experience with the sort of horticultural therapy side. Yeah. And I think...
go on.
No, I was just saying something like Lambeth Palace, she to be able to go and help there or do something...
Yeah, because they've got a great big space. And it's a nice, safe environment, for people, particularly people who've been in a vulnerable situation like that.
Really traumatised.
And the other...
there's parking Parkinson's, actually. I'm sure you know about that, but
what's that?
people with Parkinson's, once they actually get their hands into the soil, their shaking either stops or diminishes. It's extraordinary because it's just grounding people and just, letting them relax. It's quite something. So I've got to do more of that, but I'm hoping Millie will do it for me.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear how it goes, because in the magazine, as I know my regular readers will know, we do always have a section at the back, which is kind of one of my favourite pages, actually, which is called Helping Hands, which is where we look at we take a charity and put it under the spotlight, give them some kind of free publicity. So this one actually was for the wildlife trusts, and
great.
This one in this issue is, what's this one here? This one is Art House Unlimited. So this was art and using creative art for well-being. And the one that's coming up in the new issue is a garden charity, and it's called Horatio's Garden. And I don't know whether you've come across it, but it's gardens in spinal units. And honestly, the pictures that you see, you have to buy the magazine just to see it, because it is, just for that alone, it is an amazing charity.
Yeah, it is. It is quite something. Actually, I think Millie's applied to them as well, because she's desperate to go and start to be useful in that field. Yeah, I think it would be great.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, Anna, Salisbury Hospital is where it started. Horatio's Garden, go and look it up. Amazing, run by two doctors who tragically lost their son. Amazing.
It's an incredible charity, definitely. Very much so.
Great. Oh, and Rosebie, it's lovely to chat. I can't go without asking you whether Rosebie is actually your real name, or whether it's a nom de plume for your real flower company.
Well, it's all thanks to my brother. Thank God, actually, who couldn't say Rosemary when I was born.
Oh, so you're a Rosemary.
So I'm a Rosemary, but I've never been a Rosemary.
Yeah.
And I'm only Rosemary on my passport, and it's become so expensive, because every time I book a ticket somewhere, and my cards will say Rosebie, and then they won't acknowledge it because my passport's Rosemary. So I'm going to, and Matthew, my husband, has married Rosebie. So
he married Rosebie, so Rosebery's on your marriage certificate. I love it. I love it.
So it's quite weird, but anyway.
It's a bit like Lily, just before we go. So Lily, my eldest,
How is
she? We're kind of getting there. It's slow. But she's in good spirits, which is the important thing. But she was christened Amaryllis. So after the flower. So Amaryllis is on her passport, but of course, literally from the day dot, she was always known as Lily. Her Instagram. Actually, her Instagram, she did change it recently. It used to be Lily, and now she's changed it to amaryllis.earle, because she thinks this is my real name, Amaryllis, but you can call me Lily. But it's...
Well, I think if I was her, I would embrace Amaryllis, but I'm no offence to all the Rosemarys out there, but I just don't feel
if you've always been Rosebie.
Absolutely.
Then,
and now if you think what I do for a living, it's just,
It's perfect. It could not be more perfect. Rosebie, it's lovely to chat. I am going to take up your offer and come to Chichester sometime and see Sweet Peas, but it might have to be next year now. If you
it's going to have to be next year now.
Okay.
As I say, we've probably got another week, and then sadly that'll be that.
Okay, so if you want your beautiful long Sweet Peas like these, just make sure that you put your order in. And thank you very much for our discount. We really appreciate it.
That's a pleasure.
So, thank
Great
you.
pleasure. Well, I know you love Sweet Peas, so
I do.
Brilliant.
I'm going to keep them going. Any tips as to how to keep them going for longer? Do they like an aspirin in the water or something like that?
The biggest killer of flowers is dirty water. So fresh water, preferably daily or every other day.
Daily water to keep them. Yeah.
And putting them in a metal container often extends their life.
Does it?
But equally with sweet peas, a little bit of sugar. You want sugar to feed the sweet pea. And then you want a tiny bit of acid, which helps stopping the bacteria building up.
Yes.
So a little, one or two, sort of teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of vinegar, and then 1 or 2 drips of bleach, because the bleach will stop the bacteria. That acid will help the water intake, and the sugar will feed them.
And a little bit of sugar. Okay,
Yeah,
these are going to be so well tended Honestly, you sent them to a caring, loving home. I promise to take care of your sweet peas.
They should go on for a good. Well, I know it's very hot, but if you keep them somewhere cool, you'll definitely get a week out of them.
Fabulous.
Sweet peas will last longer than the roses.
Yeah, gorgeous.
They're pretty special.
Thank you so much. And it is, of course, British Flower Week. We should give a shout out to that, shouldn't we? So this is the week.
British Flower Week is so much about. I mean, I think there's so many fantastic growers popping up all over the shop now. I think I was probably one of the first to really, embrace it sort of 25 years ago, dare I say it. But there's, since then there have been more and more, a lot of sort of farmer florists who are popping up and, and doing their own thing. And it's absolutely great. And I think it's all about, we're a global economy, but I think when you can, it's seasonality. When you can buy British, you should buy British.
Yeah,
we're doing, this is a very popular, actually, sort of fresh from the farm, which for those of you who, so it's literally you just get a bunch.
Just a beautiful big bunch. I can see lupins in there and lavender and all sorts of things just wrapped in brown paper. Beautiful.
Or layer, and the Nigella, which I love.
Nigella. So are Nigella the same as cornflower? Is cornflower a nickname for Nigella?
Cornflower's slightly different. I can see where you're coming from because they do look quite similar.
They look similar, don't they?
Nigella. But it's just, that's proving very popular for British Flower Week because people could just grab, straight from the farm.
Yeah.
Which, is something very special. But I think that's what's so good about British Flower Week is it's actually, just putting the spotlight on the fact that there's so many great British flower growers.
Yeah.
People need to support them.
Buy seasonal, support our British farmers. Totally.
Yeah.
Love that all the way. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again soon. I hope to see you in real life.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
You have to leave me, otherwise I cut everybody off.
I'll put my glasses on because I can't see what I'm doing.
Bye. Oh, isn't that just gorgeous? Yeah, so Victoria, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of bleach and a little bit of sugar for your sweet peas. Actually, what I do, you may have seen me do this on my Instagram when I've been doing flowers, because I usually arrange flowers at the weekend, often on a Sunday, and I have that as like my 5 minutes, my bit of me time, and then I put pictures up in my stories. I use maybe a denture cleaning tablet or a little quarter of a Milton sterilising tablet, which I just keep by the sink, and I just pop that into the vase, and that just helps to keep the water clear. But I have to say, I haven't actually fed my flowers with sugar. I have to find some sugar. I'm not sure if I've got any sugar. I've got a sugar scrub upstairs, body scrub. Maybe I can use a bit of that. Anyway, actually, they might like honey, mightn't they? They might like a little bit of runny honey melted into or dissolved into the water. So there we go. So I hope you love it. And look, I just wanted to show this again for any of you who were late to the party. Isn't that great? And don't forget, we do have at the moment that great Liz Loves affiliate code for 10%. And if you want to send, you can send that. You can either buy those on their own, or you can send them to somebody with a little posy of flowers so they can put their own in, which is just gorgeous. Now, before I go, I did say on Monday that I would really love to hear from anybody who had done the Life Code GX Nutrigenomic testing, because we had such an extraordinary response to that. And I have filmed 2 films now, I think, on YouTube with Emma Bezic, who's the founder. And in fact, if you've got, this was the issue before last, this is the March-April issue of the magazine, and this is where I first talked about it. So if you've got it or you want to take a look at it, this is the issue that you need to look at, genetics and nutrition. And this is the Life Code GX test, where you take a little swab from your cheek and send it off, and they analyse it, and it's all anonymous data, so you don't, it doesn't track you or share anything untoward at all. I did make sure that was absolutely the case, because I'm very hot on privacy. But it just then comes back with a really fascinating report on certain nutrients that you may be blocking or not absorbing, or how you respond to things like caffeine, your circadian rhythm, your insulin response. I mean, so much. So just to say that we did a special offer with them, because normally you have to go through a practitioner. So normally you need to go, you're talking to a nutritionist or a functional medicine doctor, and that's how you get access to this. I wanted to be able to open it up to more people who perhaps don't have access, and the extra cost of seeing an additional practitioner. So we put together a little package which is basically giving you the test and the report and a half-hour consultation afterwards with a practitioner. And also getting money off as well. So anyway, you can find it, Life Code GX, you'll find it on the Earle Wellbeing website. So we wrote about it in here, and then I think I did a little follow-up in the current issue as well. And I was just really interested to see how people got on, because it takes a couple of months. You've got to send off for the test, and then you do it, and then you send it back, and it takes about a month or so to get your results in, and then you can have your follow-up consultation. So it's just been really interesting to read about it. This was from Joanne, who says here, I did the test using the Earle Wellbeing discount. The results were fascinating. I don't absorb vitamin D. I have increased sensitivity to caffeine and increased need for vitamin C. And I don't have glutathione either. I mean, these are, life-changing results, I have to say. So what was worrying was the MTHFR gene and my very slow activation of folate, which can lead to problems in pregnancy and birth. So then she had a consultation with her practitioner, went through everything, and it just says, Liz, watching your lives makes it, easier to realise that there are more ways to make your life healthier and happier by adopting other foods and supplements, as well as a great learning experience. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, Joanne. And your results sound as though they were very similar to mine. So I'm not very good at absorbing vitamin D, so I have to take extra. And I block glutathione. I can't make it in the way that we're supposed to. So I've now started taking it as a supplement, and it honestly, for me, has been really revelatory. And then for my younger daughter, Brella, and she's been on here and she's talked about it, so I'm not betraying her confidence in this. She was getting red blocks all the way through on her vitamin D and suffering, particularly this last year, with really heightened anxiety levels. And since taking high doses of vitamin D, which is what she needs because that's been identified with her genetic profile, completely transformed. And I'd love to get her back, actually. She's still at uni at the moment, but I'd love to get her back and talk about it, because she is a living, walking example of how important these tests can be for people. And in fact, I don't know if any of you were tuning in over the weekend, but she was organising a whole mental health awareness for the whole of Exeter University. They called it the Exie Factor. And, she was under a lot of pressure. She had to do a lot of presenting and pieces to camera and filming and organising. And, a year ago, that would absolutely not have been possible. But this year, she was absolutely knocking it out of the park. It was amazing. Go and take a look, actually. They're on Instagram, Exe Factor, E-X-E Factor. And they've still got some bits and pieces up there. And you'll see her. You can't miss her, because she's the one with the bright purple hair. I mean, literally, I'm going to have to put some of these in her bedroom. Her hair is this colour. Whereas Lily's hair is more... I've got a dark pink. I don't think I've got a pink enough dark enough pink, rather. She's more that. So look, I have my sweet peas. Oh, look, here are my girls represented in flowers. I should have given Brella a flower name, shouldn't I, really? Seeing as Lily has one. This was also, that was interesting. This is from Molly, who says, oh no, I've just jumped one. This is from Sarah. Like Liz, I block glutathione. I also need to take B12, so I take a sublingual version. That's the one that goes under the tongue. The supplements recommended to me, I now know, are working, and I do feel so much better. The report highlighted gluten intolerance, which I'd suspected, so I'm now trying to stick to gluten-free. Interesting, the methylation report indicated I was likely to have endometriosis, which in fact is what I was diagnosed with years ago. Had I known this years ago, it would have made things a lot easier, that it was genetic. And then she's talking about methylation, which is another very complicated thing in nutrition, but you can go down a whole rabbit hole with that if you like. This was from Molly, who says, the Life Code GX report is so useful. If nothing else, I've been able to pare down my long list of supplements. And because it was getting out of hand and expensive. Yeah, that is true. We all just, well, many of us think if we just take handfuls of vitamins, then it's going to be helpful. But actually, there's a lot that we don't need. And there's certain things that we perhaps need a little bit more of. So it is identifying those things. This is from Kaz, who says, had my life code GX, having suffered really badly with rosacea inherited from my mum. My face is no longer sore, nor is it inflamed. It took about 4 weeks for the amazing difference. I feel so much better. I'm now taking vitamin drops daily. My husband is awaiting his results as he also suffers badly with his skin. Well, good luck on that. I hope that really, really helps. Barbie says, I've received my Life Code GX results. Sadly, I'm one of those people that doesn't process caffeine very well, also not absorbing vitamin D. On the other hand, I do have the glutathione gene and working well, so that's good news, and quite a few other surprises well worth the money. Well, thank you very much. Lucky you, having your glutathione. This is from Emma, who says, my Life Code GX was very useful in confirming some things I already thought of myself and homing in on the supplements I really do need. The live consultation was excellent in explaining the results. My complete lack of glutathione was a new one for me. Thank you for suggesting this very interesting test. Yeah, it was new to me too. I was surprised. And last but not least, from Vicky, who says, my report was so interesting. There's a history of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in the family, so I want to do as much as I can to help prevent getting either. After the nutrition report, I had the methylation report, which shows issues with vitamin B not being transported. I'm now on methylated B complex with extra minerals just for 6 months. I've also stopped taking turmeric because it doesn't help me. I'm also missing glutathione gene, but I take it as a supplement now if I get a headache or brain fog. And it was a lesson in human chemistry. Yeah, and what's so great about it is it's not, well, you may be a bit and you may try that. It's binary. You know, the great thing about genes is they are either on or they are off. You know, it's like you being pregnant. You can't be, you know, slightly pregnant. You know, you either are or you aren't. And the same is true with your genetic code. It's something that you either have or you don't have. And I have to say, you know, massive thank you to Emma Bezic. I am going to be doing more with her, I think, in the months to come, because one of the reasons for asking actually for feedback is just to see how useful it was and how useful that you found it. And, you know, these are just a handful of some of the many, many, many replies. And thank you to all of those who've also emailed in and spoken on email about that. It's really helpful, and it really helps us to shape the content and the offers and the things that we try and bring that you might not get somewhere else. So what else do I need to tell you? Just checking that I've mentioned everything here. Lots of chat actually about the rosé wine. So this was mine. I had it on Monday. As you can see, I did actually open the bottle. It is very delicious. Madelenchon, that's it. And you will find it in the magazine and also through Vintage Roots. We've got a special case discount for 6 bottles, and it's completely organic, and it's a lower sulfur wine, so it tends not to leave you with a bit of a head in the morning. And then this definitely won't leave you with a head. This is continuing to fly out of the door, so if you want it, please grab it while it's around. It's the Mighty Brew limited edition heritage kombucha, which I did in conjunction with Mighty Brew, which is why it's got my name on it, and it's called Blush Rose, and it contains organic rose petals, very appropriate for today. I really ought to send a bottle to Rosebie, don't you think? To thank her for the sweet peas. I think I might do that. And also raspberry, so it's just got those faint traces of those delicious ingredients, and it really is good. So not only is it in this beautiful champagne bottle with its kind of dimple and everything, so it's a proper celebration bottle, and it does go pop, by the way, so it is a fizzy one, but it's also low in sugar, it's alcohol free, tastes great, and it's probiotic. So you're actually feeding your good gut bugs. So it's literally a win-win-win situation. So this is only available on the Mighty Brew website at the moment. They have actually, interestingly, had a lot of inquiries from retailers. So maybe it might get out there in the future. But at the moment, it's only online. And you do also get your discount. So not only is it an exclusive there, but you do also get, there's an affiliate, Liz Loves, 10% off using that code. We are just putting the final touches to the new magazine. So I've got an editorial meeting actually straight after this. It's looking great. I'm a little bit nervous about the cover. So there we go. I'll show it to you as soon as I can. But it's about to be printed. and it's a really, really beautiful issue. So it's the July-August issue, so it's the high summer issue. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure that you do, because it's not available in the shops. We just print for the subscribers. So if you would like to get it, or you'd like to gift it to somebody, and there are really good offers on the Earle Wellbeing website if you want to have a look with free P&P in the UK, then please do that, because we are just about to go to print. Oh, thank you, Tanya. Don't be nervous. We will love it. Well, you see, I'll show it to you as soon as I get the proof, before it actually goes in the post to everybody. I will show you and see what you think, and you'll be able to see why I'm a little bit nervous about it. But anyway, hopefully it will be good, and we're all friends, so that's fine. Anyway, have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you for joining me on Wellbeing Wednesday. I will be back with you on Friday, and all being well, with post and technology and everything else, I will have not one but two guests joining me on Friday. It's going to be a really interesting chat. I'm going to be talking about saffrosan and mental health and anxiety, and I've also got something really fun and fashion focused for the kitchen. So I hope you'll join me then. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.